today I have the pleasure of speaking with Janelle Snow. She is star of the upcoming film Rainbow's End. Can you tell us a little bit about the film first?
Yes, it's a film about a couple, and you get to follow them over the course of almost 2 decades on their journey together, raising a child and staying together, or
This
not. I don't want
oh
to give anything away.
it's definitely a roller coaster of emotions, and it's not often you get to see that longevity in a movie of like
Yeah.
section to section. Besides all the main themes of it, it just right down to the core of it, as a parent myself, I was frustrated a lot because I agreed sometimes with one parent, I agreed sometimes with another, and it feels like those are intimate conversations that we don't often get to see. Can you talk a little bit about the parenting aspect of your guys' relationships and how your viewpoints differ based on your son's condition or condition?
Yeah, or the mislabeling and the
Uh,
misunderstanding, no, of who he
mhm,
is or who he's going to be. I think that any kind of differences or problems that exist in a relationship can be exacerbated by trying to join together and be team parent
mhm.
and raise a human being. It's, I think, the most challenging thing you can do on this planet, as far as I can see. And so I think what happens is, you know, Jules has done so much more work on accepting of herself and is so much more aware of what's going on inside of her than I think Hannah is. I think the character of Hannah has this beautiful journey that she takes, which is one of the reasons I was really attracted to it. So I see the film from her perspective. I see the story from her perspective. And from her perspective, she doesn't understand why she just can't solve the problem, why she can't just do the things to solve the problem, get the diagnosis, incorrect as it was. Assumptions aside, she wants to medicate it, she wants to fix it. And Jules is really taking in the human and trying to feed the human. And I think it's really hard to let go of what we think is the right way to do something, right? Which is affected by her parenting. We get to meet her dad, played by the incomparable Ed Asner. Now, can you extrapolate and imagine a human being that had been raised by that person? What we get to know about him, it's easy to
Right.
see how she might be really regimented. So that's where they clash, I think, the most is Hannah's just wanting to solve the problem with blinders on, and Jules being much more open to accepting what is and working with what is.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you both want what's best for Beau, and
Yeah.
but you guys have different perspectives of what that is. And it's like you said, based on how you guys were raised, based on your personalities, even maybe even your careers. Can you give us a little bit of backstory on your character, so Hannah, so that maybe we get a better understanding where your character's coming from?
Sure. Hannah has always had a tremendous amount of pressure put on her to accomplish and to achieve. Her father was in the military and was very accomplished and also not emotionally available.
Hmm.
And so Hannah very much walked in the direction of, I'm going to do the things, check the boxes, make a robust life that could be labeled as successful. I'm going to become a lawyer. I'm going to own my own law firm. I'm going to run for political office. All those things we learn about her in the movie. And so to be stopped in her tracks by this human being that she loves like she's never experienced love before, and for that relationship to then be a source of conflict with her partner, it's not anything she's equipped to deal with. Her upbringing did not equip her to have emotionally aware conversations about her own goings on, let alone her relationship with her partner. And I think one of the aspects I loved about the film is it shows both of these people seeking professional help to try to get through a really tough time.
And I think that's a step that a lot of people don't take. That's actually they see it as an unhealthy step, but I think that the more I've grown up, also myself, I found that it is a healthy alternative to sometimes to talk to somebody else that's not in your circle.
Yeah.
And
Right? If I break my foot, no one's going to shame me for going to urgent care to see what
Right.
needs to be done so that I can be healthy. The same is true, in your mental arena. So I would love for there to be no shame about seeking mental health, and especially now where just about everybody is feeling a pinch in some direction from what we've been going through over the last year.
Yeah, definitely. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Jules and where we find it at the beginning of the film?
Oh, at the beginning of their relationship, they meet in the 90s, and I mean, there's a long honeymoon phase. They
Hmm.
find each other and they click, and there's so much joy and laughter. They decide to spend their lives together. They run into some fertility challenges, which is something that, I've dealt with, and so many of my friends have dealt with. That was another issue that doesn't get talked about a lot. And they end up deciding to adopt, and their hopes and their dreams of what a family is going to be. I doubt anybody who enters into parenting finds that it lives up to the rosy colored sort of Instagram presented version of it. And any child, let alone a child with special needs, is going to test a relationship and test the strength and the inner strength and resolve of any human. And that's what you get to see along the way. But at its heart, it's a story about love. There's so many
Yes.
love relationships. There's the partnership, there's the son, there's the father, there's friends, there's coworkers. It's just, if I had to sum it up, to me, when I think about the totality of it, I think love wins. That's what did I give away the ending? No, that's my takeaway. That's my personal takeaway. And that to me is, for Hannah's journey, that's self-love, that's love and acceptance of her partner, love and acceptance of her child.
So yeah, I mean, regardless of what the ending is, I think you're right. It is definitely a story about love, because love is a lot more than hugging and kissing. Love is suffering. It's patient. There's a lot of sacrifice involved because you're going to give up things for the ones you love. You're gonna stand up for the ones you love. There's many moments during the film where you're both very very frustrated with maybe with some of the things that he does, and but because of the strength of love, you guys may be frustrated, but you're not frustrated necessarily at each other. You're frustrated at the situation, which is very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure as a parent you can relate to, you believe you're doing your best, you're trying to do your best,
Mhm.
and when something still isn't working out the way you hoped or dreamed or believed it would, it causes that conflict. And what I loved about seeing this couple over all these years is that feels realistic to me. It isn't all sunshine and unicorns.
Right. It's very realistic because if something doesn't work, like in the case in the film that we see time and time again, you keep going. You keep looking for answers. Is it fun? Absolutely not. But you're doing it because you love one another, love the other person, and you're gonna figure it out a way to make it work because that's what love is. It's unconditional sometimes.
I'd like to think that if they'd been on a reality show and all of the moments of their lives would have been captured, you would have seen a lot of love and joy between these two people.
Hmm.
The
Oh yeah.
film's not about that per se, but boy, they had fun together and they share a lot of dreams together, and that's what keeps them together.
Hmm.
That and the
Yeah.
fighting for the love.
Yeah, obviously the relationship is very, very strong. So my next question to you is, how do you prepare for a role like that? Because it's very, very emotionally invested. And I mean, we're talking about a lifetime here that you guys portray in a movie.
You know, I imagine that every actor might answer that question a little bit differently,
Hmm.
but I just have to give mad props to my hair and makeup guru, Betsy Finn, because honestly, when you're shooting a film, you don't shoot it in sequence. And
Hmm.
so on any given day, I would so need to be grounded as to where am I right now? And Betsy would always, by the way she did my hair, by the way she did my makeup, she'd say, okay, this is where we are, this is what's going on. And Jen Cooney, the screenwriter, was also incredibly helpful. So I hate the expression eat the elephant one bite at a time, because I don't think you should eat elephants, but that's how I feel about it. It was really, from casting to shooting was only about a month. So I
Wow.
didn't have a
Okay.
whole lot of time to prepare. It was a day to day thing. And then my partner, Amanda Powell, was just flawlessly open and generous and connected. So I really believe that that performance could not have happened without the magic kismet of everybody there on set, from, Tracy, the director, to Jessica, the first AD. I mean, it really was a village creating this, you know, child that is now a film being released to the world.
So obviously you and Amanda had good chemistry then. It was
Oh,
working.
I mean, I love that human so much. And I felt so incredibly lucky because, that's not always a guarantee. We didn't meet till we showed up on set, the
Wow,
day we
okay.
started filming. Yeah. And we got along like a house on fire. She's legitimately one of my best friends. She's just fantastic. I feel doubly blessed that she was cast in that role.
That's great. Because yeah, I mean, hi, we're introducing ourselves. We're in a long relationship now.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. If you could see the outtakes or the candid pictures, you would just see us just giggling like a bunch of schoolgirls all the time. Yeah, because we had, I mean, you maybe wouldn't think it, but we had such a good time on set because we were so supported.
great. So I'm really curious about your opinion on the visual aspect of the film. One thing that I found very, very unique about the film is that we never actually see Rainbow. He is
That's true.
this is not his story. Yeah, yes, he is a catalyst in a lot of the plot points and how it progresses, but this story is not about him. Can you talk about your thoughts on the visual aspect of the film?
Yeah, I don't remember when that first occurred to me, because when you read a script, when someone wants you to audition for a role, you're mainly thinking about that role. And I would say I was maybe halfway through and I'm like, have we, is it, are they gonna, where's Beau? And we talked about it a lot on set because obviously to play Hannah, I have to have a really clear idea of who Beau is. So he was
Mhm.
very present for me. Amanda and I would talk all the time about who Beau was and what he did and what he was like. So it's interesting to me because, from my perspective, that's a very real character that I hold up here. And I almost forget sometimes that the external experience of the film is going to be you don't really get to meet him, but through our experience. But what that does is it allows the film to focus on what it really is about, which is about that relationship and
Absolutely.
that
And
love and that team.
yeah, and I also think that it speaks a little bit to not necessarily maybe even feeling sorry for him as much because once you see the face, you got there's a lot more empathy, and then
Yeah.
it would become a lot more about him. Not to
Yeah. It's a
mention
good point.
also the fact that you might even if you saw him do some of the things that we see the aftermath of, you might vilify him also.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Point. So by taking him away, all we know is that it's a child, and that's really what it should be because it's really not his fault.
I
And
love hearing that, Mandy, because again, as for me as an actor, as soon as I climb into the script, I've got really a myopic point of view, and it's hard for me. And I'm always curious about what the viewer's experience is. So I love those reflections. Yeah.
I, I think that for me, I take it from more of a parent point of view.
Hmm.
Because if like I put myself in the situation where what would happen if my child did something like that, and a lot of your guys' your reactions are similar reactions that I would have, and I can see maybe having a frustrating conversation like that with her mom, with yeah, her mom, and I so I appreciate watching it, and I understand the frustration that you guys are portraying on screen.
I wonder if not seeing the character also lets you also fill in some blanks in terms of in your own imagination. If then you're picturing a child, maybe even your child, as you just said, in some of those same circumstances, since you don't have a specific character face to focus
Mhm.
on.
Yeah, it really puts you as an individual in the driver's seat. As from your guys' perspective, I would be very curious to see this, get the opinion from somebody who doesn't have a child too. That's something I may share a film with somebody who doesn't have a child and see if their
Right.
perspective is a lot different.
Yeah.
Uh, so with that, I do want to wrap it up with the question: what do you hope audiences in general take away from Rainbow's End?
Oh, that's a great question. I hope everyone can find a way in through someone's perspective, through someone's experience, and that their takeaway honestly, like I said to you before, is that love wins, and that accepting who you are and cultivating self-love so that you can be in relationship with other people is so important.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Janelle, thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you
some
for
time with
taking
me
the
this
time, Manny.
afternoon.
It was a pleasure.
I really appreciate it. It's a great conversation. When I see films like this, I get excited because I know that I'm not necessarily going to have an interview. I'm going to have a conversation, and it's
Yeah, thank you
a
for
fun one
thinking
to
of it
have.
like that. I appreciate
So
that.
I hope you have a good rest of your day, and hopefully we'll
Thanks.
talk to you again soon.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye.